Welcome to the deep dive. I'm so glad you're here with us today because we are looking into a topic that touches millions of lives.
Millions.
Yeah, but somehow the most crucial details are still just flying completely under the radar.
Oh, absolutely.
So today we are on a mission to unpack the surprising truth about prenatal nutrition. We're drawing from a really fascinating interview script featuring Dr. Asad Ali Syed, where he breaks down his top 5 prenatal recommendations for the year 2026.
And what makes Dr. Assad's breakdown so compelling is the sheer depth of the analysis here. We are not just, looking at a generic list of over-the-counter vitamins.
Right, like a standard blog post or something.
Exactly. We're diving into an expert evaluation of recent clinical studies, highly specific product formulations, and really a profound look at how foundational nutrition impacts not just a baby's development, but a mother's day-to-day survival.
Day-to-day survival, that concept really strikes a nerve because when you are prepping for a baby, the focus is almost entirely on the child's development.
Which makes sense.
Right, which is obviously critical. But the toll the process takes on the mother's body is so often treated as just, I don't know, an inevitable side effect of pregnancy. Okay, let's unpack this because Dr. Saad's notes highlight a staggering, almost unbelievable statistic.
It really is.
This is from an institutional review board-approved clinical study conducted by a company called Needed. They found that 95% of mothers are nutritionally depleted.
Let that sink in for a second. 95%.
And here's the real kicker for you. That 95% depletion rate is present even when these mothers are actively taking a standard prenatal vitamin.
It's a shocking number to hear. But when we analyze the why behind it, the reality becomes glaringly clear.
Yeah.
The issue isn't necessarily that standard mass-market prenatals are inherently malicious products. The problem is their baseline formulation. Most of these standard prenatals are formulated merely to meet minimum recommended dietary allowances, the RDAs.
Right, but aren't those RDAs supposed to be the gold standard for what our bodies need?
That is the common misconception. If we look at the history of RDAs, those guidelines were largely established decades ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, many around the time of World War II. They were designed for rations, specifically to prevent basic severe deficiencies.
Like scurvy or something.
Exactly. We are talking about preventing diseases like scurvy or rickets. But preventing a basic deficiency is a completely different universe from supporting the massive, unprecedented nutritional demands of growing a whole new human being.
Right.
The standard options simply cannot keep up with what the body actually requires for optimal health during pregnancy.
There is such an aha moment. It's like trying to fuel a high-performance race car with a thimble of gas.
Perfect analogy.
Just because that thimble is technically enough to keep the engine from immediately stalling out. Which brings us to a scenario that is incredibly relatable, maybe even to you or someone you know.
Definitely.
Imagine the new mom. She's absolutely exhausted to her core, but when she finally gets the chance to lie down, she's completely unable to sleep.
Our brain just won't shut off.
Yeah, exactly. Dr. Assad's interview uses this brilliant analogy of a mother's nutrient tank being empty.
What's fascinating here is the specific biochemistry behind that empty tank analogy. The Needed clinical study gives us a very clear window into this mechanism.
Okay.
Let's look at vitamin B6. The women in the Needed study who were taking their specific clinical level prenatal had 180% higher B6 levels compared to the women taking standard prenatals.
180% higher.
Yes. Now, why does that matter for the exhausted mother lying awake at 3 a.m.? Because vitamin B6 is biologically essential for producing neurotransmitters like serotonin and melatonin.
Oh, wow.
Those are the very chemicals that regulate your sleep cycle.
So, wait, the data is saying this insomnia isn't necessarily just postpartum anxiety. It's an actual mechanical failure.
Precisely. If you are deeply depleted in vitamin B6 because your standard prenatal isn't delivering enough, your body physically cannot build the chemicals required to fall asleep.
Well, it's incredible.
It doesn't matter how tired you are or how many breathing exercises you do, the raw materials simply aren't there.
That is wild to think about. You blame yourself for having a racing mind, but really, you're just missing the biological building blocks for melatonin.
Exactly.
And the data doesn't stop with B6.
Yeah.
The clinical data also showed a 160% increase in choline levels for the women taking the targeted nutrition.
Another massive jump.
Yeah, but I have to push back here a little bit because I have only ever heard of choline in the context of the baby's brain and spinal cord development.
Which it is crucial for.
Right. But how does a nutrient for the baby end up managing the mother's stress levels?
It's a great question, and it is a massive blind spot in standard prenatal care. While choline is absolutely vital for the baby's neural tube, it plays a parallel, crucial role for the mother in regulating cortisol.
Our primary stress hormone.
Exactly. When your nutrient tank is empty and you lack that clinical level choline support, your cortisol levels can easily fall completely out of balance.
And a cortisol imbalance is exactly what causes that dreaded 3 a.m. wake up, right?
The cortisol spike.
Yeah, where your eyes snap open, your heart is racing, and you feel this sudden, terrifying spike of anxiety in the pitch dark.
Exactly. We tend to pathologize that as a purely emotional reaction to the stress of a newborn.
Right, just new mom jitters.
But the data suggests it is often a direct physiological response to a lack of targeted nutrition.
It completely reframes how we think about the struggles of early motherhood. It is not just about needing a nap. It is about needing deep, clinical-level nourishment.
Foundational nourishment.
Right. So how do we actually get that nourishment without a degree in biochemistry? Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's walk you through Dr. Assad's top 5 prenatal list for 2026.
And this countdown was evaluated on very strict criteria.
Nutrient forms, clinical evidence, and overall ingredient quality, right?
Correct. Starting at number 5, we have Seeking Health's Optimal Prenatal. This is a highly comprehensive formula created by Dr. Ben Lynch designed to support healthy fertility, conception, pregnancy, and breastfeeding. The evaluation highlights that it contains over 30 key nutrients. But what really secures its spot on this list is the focus on bioavailable nutrient forms, specifically methylated folate and B12.
Let's pause there for a second because methylated is a word that gets thrown around a lot in supplement marketing.
It does.
What does that actually mean for the person taking it?
Think of methylation as a biological predigestion. A significant portion of the population has genetic variations, like the MTHFR mutation.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, and that mutation makes it very difficult for their bodies to convert standard synthetic folic acid into a usable form. By using methylated folate, the nutrient is already in its active state.
So it bypasses the problem.
Exactly. Your body doesn't have to do the heavy lifting to convert it. It can just immediately use it for optimal genetic development.
That makes so much sense.
Oh.
And I noticed Dr. Assad's notes mentioned it includes ginger, specifically to support digestive comfort.
A very smart addition.
That is huge when you are dealing with first trimester nausea. Now, the serving size on this one is larger. It's a handful of capsules. But Dr. Assad points out that is actually a feature, not a bug.
Correct. You simply cannot fit clinical therapeutic doses of 30 different bioavailable nutrients into a single tiny pill.
Right. Physics kind of gets in the way.
Exactly. If a prenatal is a one a day, it is almost mathematically guaranteed to be leaving crucial nutrients out or severely underdosing them.
Okay, so if Seeking Health is all about comprehensive, bulk nutrition, number 4 takes a completely different angle. Coming in at number 4 is Microbiome Labs Pregnancy Support.
This one is fascinating.
Yeah, because it is not a traditional multivitamin at all. It is a clinically studied probiotic-powered blend.
It is a highly targeted approach that focuses entirely on the microbiome's role in a healthy pregnancy. This formula features specific lactobacillus probiotic strains that were originally isolated directly from the vaginal tracts of healthy pregnant women.
Which sounds incredibly specific. Why isolate them from there?
Because the maternal microbiome is what seeds the infant's microbiome during birth.
Oh.
Research indicates that actively supporting healthy vaginal and gut microbiomes with these specific strains can maximize successful pregnancy outcomes and reduce certain complications.
That's amazing.
Additionally, this formula includes a clinically studied strain called Astylos B. infantis. This is specifically included to lay the foundation for the infant's gut health and immune system development from day one.
It really highlights how complex prenatal support has become. It's not just about popping a calcium pill anymore. We are talking about engineering the foundation of a child's immune system.
The science has advanced so much.
It really has. Speaking of specific delivery mechanisms, let's look at number 3 on Dr. Assad's 2026 list. Thorne Basic Prenatal. Thorne has a massive reputation. They are trusted by thousands of healthcare professionals.
And the reason Thorne consistently earns that trust comes down to gentle, tissue-ready delivery. When you are pregnant, your digestive system is already under immense strain.
To put it mildly.
Right. Thorne uses bioactive 5-MTHF folate, which, similar to the methylated folate we discussed, is metabolically active and ready for immediate use in neural tube development. But their real standout feature is how they handle iron.
Okay.
They use a form called iron bisglycinate.
And why is that specific form so important? Because anyone who has taken standard iron supplements knows they can be an absolute nightmare for constipation and nausea.
Standard iron supplements are notoriously harsh. You can think of iron bisglycinate as iron that is wearing a biological disguise.
A disguise.
Yes, it is bound to an amino acid, which allows it to sneak right past the stomach and be absorbed in the intestines without causing that terrible gastrointestinal distress. It is heavily researched, non-constipating, and much easier on the body.
Which is an absolute lifesaver. All right, moving up the list, Ritual takes a slightly different approach for number 2 with their Essential for Women Prenatal Multivitamin Citrus.
They have a very modern approach.
I really appreciate the design philosophy here. Ritual is known for pioneering traceable ingredients. Dr. Assad points out they use methylated folate sourced specifically from Italy, and their omega-3 DHA comes from microalgae rather than fish oil.
That microalgae sourcing is a thoughtful touch because it is sustainable and completely eliminates those terrible fishy burps that pregnant women often complain about. But from a clinical standpoint, their delivery mechanism is highly intentional. They utilize delayed release capsules.
Which means they bypass the stomach entirely.
Yes. They are designed to survive the acidic environment of the stomach and dissolve later in the small intestine.
Okay.
This serves a dual purpose. It allows for much more efficient absorption of the nutrients where they are actually needed, and it significantly minimizes the immediate nausea that causes so many women to abandon their prenatal routines altogether.
Plus, it hits a lot of important consumer preferences. It is vegan, non-GMO verified, and third-party tested. And they even include a citrus scent tab in the bottle to make the daily routine a little more pleasant.
Which makes a big difference.
Definitely. When you have pregnancy-level scent sensitivity, a citrus tab, it's a brilliant addition. But now we reach the summit, number 1 on Dr. Assad's list for 2026. And this brings our deep dive perfectly full circle.
It does.
The number 1 spot goes to Needed Prenatal.
Yes, this is the very same brand behind the clinical study we discussed at the beginning. The core philosophy that elevates them to the number 1 spot is described as testing, not guessing.
I love that.
They aren't just formulating based on those outdated WWII-era assumptions. They are tracking actual blood nutrient levels in real pregnant women. The result is a prenatal multi that provides 8 times more key nutrients than leading mass-market brands.
8 times. That is just an astronomical difference. We're not talking about a 5% bump here.
It is a massive difference in formulation, which directly translates to those clinical results we talked about earlier. To hammer those details home, this is the exact formula that resulted in women having 180% higher B6 and 160% higher choline. They use the bioavailable methylated folate, and they use the gentle iron bisglycinate. But they take it a vital step further. They actually separate the iron completely from the main multivitamin.
Now that is interesting. Why pull the iron out? I thought the goal was to get everything together in one regimen.
Because minerals can fiercely compete for absorption in the gut. They essentially try to use the same biological doorways.
Oh, I see.
If you flood the system with a massive dose of iron, it can actually block the body from absorbing other crucial minerals like zinc or calcium. By separating the iron into its own targeted dose, Needed ensures the body can optimally absorb everything.
That makes total sense.
It is a level of precision that you simply don't see in standard one-a-day pills. It is physician-formulated, third-party tested, and backed by over 15,000 health experts.
So what does this all mean? We have this incredible, scientifically backed list of clinical-grade supplements. But from a purely practical standpoint, how do you actually acquire these without turning your life into a logistical nightmare?
That's the challenge.
You don't want to be managing a dozen different accounts, paying multiple shipping fees, and tracking a bunch of different boxes from Thorne and Ritual and Needed.
Right. Dr. Assad suggests a very practical logistical solution for this, a platform called Wellora.app. It functions as a single checkout digital hub. It aggregates over 30,000 products across more than 300 clinical-grade brands, all in one place.
And from a purely objective standpoint, there are some solid introductory benefits. They're currently offering 20% off all orders and free shipping on orders over $50.
Which is helpful.
When you are looking to invest in higher quality, clinical-grade options, those discounts certainly help bridge the gap between standard grocery store prices and premium health investments.
But the real value of a platform like Wellora, especially from a clinical perspective, isn't just the aggregation or the discounts. It is the supply chain vetting. Every single brand on Wellera is strictly made in the USA. In the largely unregulated supplement industry, that is a critical detail. It ensures adherence to strict manufacturing standards and rigorous third-party testing. You never have to guess if the bottle you are holding is counterfeit or contaminated.
And Dr. Assad's notes mention they also offer free guidance from natural healthcare practitioners directly on the platform, right?
Exactly. This is an invaluable resource. If you are trying to figure out which specific form of magnesium will best help with your unique sleep issues, or which of those microbiome labs probiotics is going to pair optimally with your needed prenatal, you don't have to guess or rely on internet forums.
No more late-night doom scrolling.
Exactly. You have access to vetted expert guidance right there.
That takes so much of the stress out of the process. You aren't just staring at a wall of bottles hoping you pick the right combination for your biology. So, to bring this all together for you today, true prenatal care is clearly undergoing a massive, necessary evolution.
It really is.
It is no longer about just scraping by, relying on decades-old minimum RDAs that were literally just designed to prevent scurvy. It's about providing deep, foundational, clinical-level nutrition. It is about recognizing the immense biological work of growing a human being and actively fueling the mother's body so that both she and the baby can truly thrive, not just survive.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it forces us to look beyond just pregnancy.
What do you mean?
We have spent this entire discussion unpacking how wildly inaccurate our standard RDAs are for the massive biological shift of having a baby. But it raises a truly profound question. What other major biological life stages are we completely underfueling?
Oh, wow. That is a fascinating point.
Think about it. Are we treating the massive hormonal and metabolic transitions of menopause with the exact same outdated scurvy prevention baseline? If a woman's nutrient tank is running on empty during postpartum, what does that tank look like during perimenopause? How many of the severe symptoms women experience during other biological milestones are actually just the mechanical result of a society that formulates its nutrition for basic survival rather than optimal biological support?
That is an incredibly powerful thought to leave on. If we are underestimating pregnancy this severely, we are likely underestimating everything else too. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope this empowers you to look closer at the foundation of your health, to demand better than the bare minimum, and to truly fuel your body for whatever stage of life you are in. Remember to shop smart, supplement wisely, and never stop questioning the standard advice. We will catch you on the next one.